everyone, it's Allie and welcome to my channel, and today we are going to talk about all the books that I want to read during the month of March. Alright, so it is time for another TBR video. I am so excited about how I'm doing these this year. Basically, I'm just picking my TBR in a different way each month.
Groundbreaking.
And today I have already picked everything out myself because I am going to be doing a month of reading BookTok books. And by BookTok, I mean BookTube, Bookstagram, really any online platform where people are talking about books. And the most common genres that I personally see that a lot of people are reading are contemporary romance, which I really don't read too much at all, as well as romantasy, which I dabble in a little bit more, but still not my favorite. But literary fiction is another genre that I do see pop up quite a bit. So I've got some of that in this pile, and I've just tried to make this month as well-rounded as I can while still sticking to the theme. And some of these books I've been meaning to read for quite a while, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So up first, we have one that part of me wants to hold off until fall to read, but I say that about so many books, and then I don't have enough time in the fall to read them all. So here's to reading a little bit of spooky dark academia in the spring. So first up we have T. Kingfisher's A House with Good Bones, and I see a lot of people who like spooky reads like I do. They really like this author T. Kingfisher, and I've never read anything by him before. But I do love this cover, very, very aesthetic, and it does absolutely give November vibes, but like I said, I just don't have enough time to read all the books I want to read in the fall. It says, "Mom seems off." Her brother's words echo in Sam Montgomery's ear as she turns onto the quiet North Carolina street where their mother lives alone. She brushes the thought away as she climbs the front steps. Sam's excited for this rare extended visit and looking forward to nights with just the two of them. Drinking boxed wine, watching murder mystery shows, and guessing who the killer is long before the characters figure it out. But stepping inside, she quickly realizes home isn't what it used to be. Gone is the warm, cluttered charm her mom is known for. Now the walls are painted a sterile white. Her mom jumps at the smallest noises, even when she's the only person in the room. To find out what's got her mom so frightened in her own home, Sam will go digging for the truth, but some secrets are better left buried. So I think this will be good, and this is a pretty quick read, it looks like 230 pages. And sometimes I like that for a darker thriller because you get to the point a little bit faster, everything is important, where some thrillers I feel like there's a little bit too much fluff thrown in. But I've heard really, really good things about this author, and I might even have another one by him on my shelf, but I've just been really dying to get into his books. I am so sorry, this appears to be a female, so just disregard all those he's. I don't know why I thought with a lot of confidence that this was a guy. She lives in North Carolina with her husband, dogs, and a garden with several rose bushes that she keeps a very careful eye on. So T. Kingfisher is a woman. I literally thought for the last 3 years that it was a guy. Anyway, moving on to someone I do know is a girl, Ashley Poston, and here we have the 7-Year Slip, which you probably saw everywhere last year. Everyone was reading this. I've read a couple books from her actually. I read The Dead Romantics, which is one of her most famous ones. I thought it was okay. I was expecting a lighter romance, and it was actually dealing a lot with grief, which you might pick up from the dead part, but it just wasn't for me. I don't really love books unless they're written very well, that are focusing so much on somebody working through grief. I just really have to be in the mood for it, and I was not feeling that book a ton. But I'm for sure still willing to read more from Ashley Poston because she wrote another book a while ago that I never hear anybody talking about called Among the Beasts and Briars, and it's a really cute, clean fantasy romance, and there's a fox in there. It's just adorable, so if you like that kind of vibe, definitely make sure you check out Among the Beasts and Briars. So this says, sometimes the worst day of your life happens and you have to figure out how to live after it. For Clementine West, that means burying her head in her work as a book publicist, being practical, and forgetting the silly things her beloved aunt Analia taught her, like living wide and chasing the moon. Clementine would rather just stay grounded and keep her heart safe. For the last 6 months, she's done just that. But she moves into her late aunt's apartment and finds a strange man standing in the kitchen. Of course, she's falling for this guy, except the problem is he exists in the past. 7 years in the past to be exact, and she quite literally lives 7 years in his future. So wasn't there another movie like that, like The Lake House or something, where they're in different points in time. I don't know, but I know a lot of people liked this one. I know some people were disappointed. So we'll see how this goes, but I do like that there is some time travel element to it. It does also seem very reminiscent of The Unmaking of June Farrow, which I did really enjoy. Next up, we have The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. This actually won Book of the Year in 2020. I was thinking this actually didn't come out that long ago. Time flies. This says, twins inseparable as children ultimately choose to live in two very different worlds, one black and one white. The Vignes sisters will always be identical, but after growing up together in a small southern black community and running away at age 16, it's not just the shape of their daily lives that's different as adults, it's everything, including their racial identities. Many years later, one sister lives with her black daughter in the same southern town she once tried to escape. Across the country, the other secretly passes for white, and her white husband knows nothing of her past. Still, although separated by so many miles and just as many lies, the fates of the twins remained intertwined. What will happen when their own daughter's storylines intersect? So we're weaving together multiple strands and generations, from the Deep South to California, from the 1950s to the 1990s. So I love that. I think this is going to be a really interesting read, and of course a very thought-provoking one, and I've heard nothing but good things about this book. And yeah, won Book of the Year, so that definitely says something. Alright, now we've got one that probably like everybody has on their TBR, but I know a lot of us are intimidated by, and that is A Little Life. I'm not going to even try to pronounce this author's name. This was a Man Booker Prize finalist. So many people love this book. I, in fact, have started this book. I'm on page 45, so maybe I can pick up there. Maybe I'll have to start over. And when I started reading this, I definitely thought it was really good, but it might have been like November or December, and it was just a little bit too crazy, and I wanted to really focus on this book. So I think this is going to be a good one to read during March when I don't have too much going on. But this, I feel like, could easily be 5 stars. This could easily be a top favorite for me. So we're following 4 college classmates as they move to New York in search of fame and fortune. While their relationships, which are tinged by addiction, success, and pride, deepen over the decades, the men are held together by their devotion to the brilliant Jude, a man scarred by an unspeakable childhood trauma. A hymn to brotherly bonds and a masterful depiction of love in the 21st century, this novel is about the families we are born into and those we make for ourselves. So I think I'm gonna love this. I do love a saga. I really liked the writing style in the first 45 pages. So yeah, I think this is gonna be good, and I'm all caught up on my Cormoran Strike novels, so I need a nice thick book to dive into. But let me know if you've read this one. Like I said, I feel like a lot of people want to read it. Have we all read it? No, but so many people have such good things to say, and sometimes we just have to challenge ourselves a little bit. Here we have A Short Walk Through a Wide World by Douglas Westerbeek. I love this cover too. Very simple, but I love the font. So this one was written just last year. This novel charts the incredible, adventurous life of one woman as she journeys the globe, trying to outrun a mysterious curse that will destroy her if she ever stops moving. Love this already, and we're starting in Paris, 1885. Aubrey is a spoiled and stubborn 9-year-old girl, and she comes across a wooden puzzle ball on her walk home from school. She tosses it over a fence only to find it in her backpack that evening. Days later, at the family dinner table, she starts to bleed to death. Did not see that coming. Medical treatment only makes her worse, so she flees to the outskirts of the city, where she realizes that it is the very act of movement that keeps her alive. So she begins her lifelong journey around the world, constantly on the run from her disease, which won't allow her to stay anywhere more than a few days. She'll encounter friends, enemies, lovers, strange beasts, wild landscapes, castles, and grand inventions. But the longer she wanders, and the more of her unlikely existence she dares to share with others, the clearer it becomes that the world she travels through is not quite the same as everyone else's. I think I'm gonna love this. Of all the books that I'm sharing today, I feel like this is the one that I've seen the least on BookTok, BookTube, Bookstagram, but I have definitely seen it around. This was a very popular book last year. I feel like maybe a lot of people did this for book club, so I think this still fits the bill for the month, and I feel like this is one I'm probably gonna read pretty fast. It looks like short chapters, and the whole idea of the story sounds so interesting to me. Alright, you guys are gonna be flabbergasted that I've never read this, and I've put this on a lot of TBRs I feel like, but I am reading this month. I'm really trying to stick to these TBRs TBRs. So the book I'm talking about is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I know, everyone's probably so shocked I haven't read this book, because it really is right up my alley, I feel like. So a lot of these books do have a kind of fantastical historical fiction element to them, which I kind of love. A lot of those types of books end up being 5 stars favorites for me. And in this story, we've got the main character, Addie LaRue, and the story starts in France 1714, where in a moment of desperation, Addie LaRue makes a bargain to live forever and is cursed to be forgotten by everyone she meets. Thus begins her extraordinary life, but everything changes when, after nearly 300 years, Addie stumbles across a young man in a bookstore and he remembers her name. I feel like it's giving Twilight a little bit, but so many people love this book, so many people have this as a top 10 favorite that I feel like that's a reason that I've been putting it off, because I like having something that I'm quite sure will become a favorite on the horizon to read. But there are so many books out there, I've got enough of them on my shelf, so it's time to finally read this one. And then lastly, I felt like I had to pick a romantasy book because that is just so hot right now. And I decided to go for The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. These pages alone make me want to read the book. It says, in this gilded, gothic, and darkly romantic new epic fantasy series, a young woman's secret power to raise the dead plunges her into the dangerous world of the sainted king's royal court. Lore has been living by her wits since she was a child, running poisons for the cartel that took her in, avoiding the attention of the law, and keeping her affinity for death magic a secret. Because mortem is a rare and illicit commodity, and using it could mean death. When a job goes wrong, Lore suddenly finds herself thrust into a lavish court where no one can be believed and even fewer can be trusted. There, Lore must navigate an intricate web of politics, religion, and forbidden romance to solve a mystery more dangerous and twisted than she can even imagine. So I like hearing that there's some mystery involved, and hopefully I like this book because I actually already have the second one. They were both available on Book Outlet, and I think I got them both during a $5.99 fiction sale, so I just decided to scoop them both up. But I did read her For the Wolf book, and I never read the second one, For the Throne or For the Wolf, whichever was the first one I read that. And I did like her writing style a lot, and I definitely need to finish that duology, but this is the more talked about one on BookTok, I feel like, so we'll read this month. But let me know what you are reading during the month of March, and if you've read any of the ones I picked out. I'm guessing a lot of you have read Addie LaRue. I feel like a lot of you have also probably read The 7-Year Slip. But if you've read all 7 of these, you get a gold star, so go ahead and put a gold star in the comments if you've read every single one of these books, but if not, let me know which one is top of your list. If you like this video, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. It really does help my channel out a lot. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!